Inductive and Deductive Research Approach. Created for BCD 606, Intro to Research Methods, instructed by Geraldine Lynn Paluzzo, created by Ashley Hart and Zulfa Ramathan. Now it's time for our 3 to 4-year-old explanation. Today we will be learning about different types of research. Research is a really fancy word that means finding something out or learning about something. So if somebody said let's do research about dogs, I would probably go to the dog park to try to learn about what dogs are. Or I would talk to people who have pet dogs and ask them questions. When doing research, you learn important things about the topic that you are researching. The things that you learn or find out are called facts. When researching dogs, I might learn that most dogs have 4 legs, dogs have tails, and dogs bark. These are all facts about dogs. The 2 types of research that we are going to learn about today are inductive research and deductive research. Another word for inductive research is exploratory research. This is because when we use inductive research, we start by acting like we are explorers. When we are exploring, we are looking for a pattern or things that are the same about whatever it is that we are exploring. Once a pattern is found, the explorer creates a theory or idea about why this pattern is happening. A theory is like a rule. For example, if we went to explore Santa's village and all of the elves that we saw in the village loved candy canes, we could create the theory or rule that all of the elves everywhere like candy canes also. Another word for deductive research is confirmatory research. Inside the word confirmatory is the word confirm, which just means to make sure that something is right or correct. That is exactly how deductive or confirmatory research takes place. A researcher will start with a theory, which we have already learned is sort of like a rule or pattern, and will investigate to test out the theory or to confirm, to make sure that the theory is right. If we had a theory that said all elves like to sing, and we wanted to do deductive research, we would go to the North Pole and speak to the elves to determine whether or not this theory is true. We would be trying to confirm the theory. Next is our 12-year-old explanation. Today's lesson is about inductive and deductive research. Inductive and deductive research are 2 ways that the researcher can go about conducting their research, so basically which method to follow. The term inductive research is also known as exploratory research. You'll notice the word explore inside the word exploratory. This is because the first step to conducting inductive or exploratory research is to do some exploring or investigating of your own. If and when a researcher observes a pattern, they put forward a theory based on the pattern observed. Deductive research is a different approach and is basically the opposite steps. Another word for deductive research is confirmatory research. The root word of the word confirmatory is confirm, which means to make sure something is correct. When a researcher uses this method of research, they start with a theory and come up with a hypothesis or educated guess based on that theory. The researcher will then conduct a test to confirm the theory being researched and determine whether their hypothesis based on that theory is correct. So, using the deductive method, if we know that everyone who attends St. Mary's Catholic School wears a uniform, we can make the hypothesis that the majority of females who attend St. Mary's have a kilt as part of their uniform. Then, we can conduct a survey to gather information about which uniform articles each females have and determine if our hypothesis was correct. In order for a research method to be inductive, an observation of a pattern needs to be made first. For example, if a researcher was feeding birds at the park and began to notice that between the 5 different types of birds at the park, each of them enjoys sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds, but only the blue jays like the peanuts, the researcher can then theorize that all flight birds enjoy sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds. Next, the researcher would create a test to gather data to support their theory.
BCD explanation, inductive versus deductive research. When comparing the meaning of inductive and deductive research, it is important to know that one is meant for qualitative research while the other is meant for quantitative research. Inductive research approach. This form of research is qualitative and is performed when researchers cannot predict research outcome. The first purpose of inductive research is to identify a problem or a question that is to be analyzed. The primary purpose of the inductive study is to establish new theories instead of existing theories. It focuses on collecting empirical data from current information to support and explain a new theory. Inductive research may collect basic numerical data to facilitate the description or indicate the scope and boundary of the situation being studied. Stages of inductive research approach: observing and gathering data, look for patterns, analysis, development of theory. Inductive process example: data collection about the topic of interest begins with researchers looking for patterns and then developing a theory that explains their predetermined pattern. Inductive case study: authors analyze empirical data to better understand how best to meet the needs of young people who are experiencing homelessness. The authors analyze data from focus groups with 20 young people at a homeless shelter. From these data, they developed a set of recommendations for those interested in applied intervention that serve youth that were experiencing homelessness. The researchers also developed hypotheses for people who might wish to conduct further investigation of the topic. Though Ferguson and her colleagues did not test the hypothesis that they developed, their study ends where most deductive investigation begins, with a theory and a hypothesis derived from that theory. Deductive research. Deductive research approach is a quantitative research and is based on positivism. This approach is often used by scientists who base their understanding and knowledge on facts. This approach is objective. Purpose of deductive research approach. The main purpose of deductive research is to test existing theories that exist, while inductive research seeks to create new theories. First stages of deductive research is to review existing research and collect all the existing information about a theory. Second stage is to create a theoretical framework. This framework is meant to structure and guide the research. After the collection of data and analysis, the theory is tested, is proven or modified to the newfound evidence. Stages of deductive research: make a hypothesis, analyze data, support hypothesis or not. Deductive case study example: in the study of U.S. law enforcement responses to hate crimes, Ryan King and colleagues hypothesized that law enforcement's response would be less vigorous in areas of the country that had a stronger history of racial violence. The authors developed a hypothesis from their readings of prior research and theories on the topic. They tested the hypothesis by analyzing data on states' lynching histories and hate crime responses. Overall, the authors found support for their hypothesis. One might associate this research with critical theory.